Apologies for starting a bit late. Um, there are just two issues, but the first one I would like to go in a bit of a detail because it's important to highlight as to how this government has not only failed the people of India, but it is so defiant even of the Supreme Court. So it is necessary that I go into a bit of detail. I hope you'll have the patience to listen to me. This is about a very important issue, and that is related to the black money matter. All of you are aware that Supreme Court today gave in no uncertain terms a comment about this government. 3 years ago, the Supreme Court had very clearly given instructions to the government saying that the list of names of black money account holders be disclosed with the petitioner, be produced to the petitioner forthwith. That was the word which was used by the Supreme Court when it ordered the government to produce that list which had come from Liechtenstein. But after giving the order, till today, the Supreme Court was astonished to, as we get the reports, astonished to know that the government hadn't even produced the list which was ordered by the Supreme Court. It gave one or the other reason to say, no, we can't give it because there is a review petition. And when the review was not entertained by the Supreme Court, even then it didn't produce. So today, the Supreme Court had very clearly used the words, yesterday's order, that it is a gross contempt of court. Can there be a greater chiding of a government by the Supreme Court? Contempt of court for 3 years. You have not even produced the list which was ordered by the Supreme Court. And you've been misleading this country about what action they are taking as regards getting the black money from various different countries, tax havens abroad. Just to recall very quickly, during 2009 election campaign, I begin with saying this. During 2009 election campaign, Shri Advani ji repeatedly raised the issue of black money, getting the black money back to this country, and every time in his campaign he underlined it. And you also know that during that campaign, repeatedly the Congress party only mocked at Shri Advani, saying, what are you talking about black money and so on. And the context in which Advani ji referred to the black money, let it be understood, because I'm sure a lot of times when we spoke about black money, we have been, in all fairness, asked by the media also as to what did you do during the NDA time. So in order to address that question, which will naturally come in all our minds, let's understand that it was only by December 2005, the United Nations Convention Against Corruption was made or brought into effect. December 2005 is when it was brought into effect, and by which time the NDA was out of power. Post that, 2004 when it came to power, and subsequently even in 2008, this government did not take any effort to ratify that convention. And what would that convention benefit you with? It would have helped to share information between nations so that any kind of action can be taken on your own citizens who, violating the law of the land, stack their money abroad. Now, if that convention, which gives you the advantage of being able to procure information from countries where your money is being illegally kept, was itself only made effective as of December 2005, we would only expect that this government takes enough and adequate steps in order that you will be able to get the benefit of that information sharing. And let's underline the fact that that became effective December 2005 during the UPA government's time. But this government not only doesn't take advantage of that convention which has been signed, but the ratification was delayed by this government. That's a very important point for us to notice. 2005, you get the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, which would have given you the advantage of lots of information from various countries from where you actually would have, had the information to act upon. Not only that you're not trying to get information, but you delay the ratification. You delayed the ratification till May 2011, by which time in this country there was enough pressure on the government to get the money back, and there was a lot of political, pulling and pushing. Let's remember that the Prime Minister of this country, Dr. Manmohan Singh, had, as soon as he assumed office, given a promise to this country that within 100 days he'll act upon it. So let's not forget those very important mileposts. The Prime Minister promises that within 100 days he will take steps to get the money back. But no, not till 2011 do they even ratify the convention. Now after that, in January 2011, you also had a lot of pressure, and Shri Pranab Mukherjee, then the finance minister, held a specific exclusive press conference to talk about what steps this government would take in getting the money back. After that, several committees were formed. The whole thing went on getting, dragged. And then, most importantly, in July 2011, the Supreme Court came down heavily on the government, saying, what is it that you're doing towards getting the money back? July 2011. And it is that judgment yesterday in the court was referred to, saying even in July 2011, we had asked you to give the names, disclose the names that you obtained from Liechtenstein. But no, till today you have not even disclosed the names. And therefore, the Supreme Court has very clearly said that this government is in contempt of court, gross contempt of court. Incidentally, even in May 2012, this government came up with a white paper on getting the black money. And there were media reports which said white lies in white paper in getting the black money. These are not my words, these are words in the media. You bring up a white paper, you hold a specific press conference, you assure in the parliament, the Prime Minister gives a promise within 100 days he would get it. But today the Supreme Court had to tell this government that you have not done a thing and you are in contempt of court. This explains clearly that this party has no will to work on black money. It is only misleading the nation. And as regards a very important thing about failing to take action even on Hassan Ali, the tax evader, on whom the Supreme Court again spoke. And all this prompted that the Supreme Court said it will take over the investigation and formed an SIT. What is important here is, even at this stage, to understand that the government took a very flimsy excuse to say, well, let the SIT finish the inquiry, after that I will submit the names. Utterly shameful. Supreme Court gives you an order, you don't give the names, and then till today you give us flimsy excuse saying, SIT, let it complete its investigation, after that we give you the names. It is defining the course of this investigation itself much against the will of the Supreme Court. And even on that, the Supreme Court has come down heavily to say, why are you telling? I mean, what is it? SIT investigation doesn't have to be linked up with this. We have already said, produce the list forthwith. And 3 years have passed and you have not even produced the list. And on Hassan Ali, the BJP very clearly observes that the Congress party has not taken any effort. Leave getting the names from outside. Those tax evaders in this country have not been acted upon. This is a complete hypocritical approach of this government. It's very clearly talking one thing and doing nothing. Talking to please the court, talking to please the people of India, talking to please in the parliament, saying we are giving you some reports, but no action has followed in this matter of black money. And therefore, we charge this government, as we said during our charge sheet release also, that on black money, this government has failed the people of India. But I would like to draw your attention to say, whenever Congress party is in power, corruption, corruption-related scandals, inflation, inaction are all linked with one another. Very clearly linked with one another, and because of that, crime in society increases. Congress party is not worried about restoring some kind of an order in these matters, and there is this, therefore, a very clear connect, which you also see in terms of the way in which they are handling the election and election related matters. They were the ones who even went to the extent of passing through ordinance a protection for convicted legislatures. When the public opinion went against them, you knew how Rahul Gandhi had to walk into one of their official press releases, press conferences to tear up the ordinance. This is the party which went to the extent of getting an ordinance to protect convicted legislatures. And better sense had to prevail because the public opinion went against them. So let us not miss the link. Corruption, scandals, no action against black money, these are very clearly indicative of the way in which this government functions, and today the Supreme Court coming down heavily on them proves the point. The second issue which I would like to raise is, we've always been saying that the Congress party during this election campaign has not given any message. What is it that they are telling the people of India? To seek their vote, and what is it that they want through which they can have their mandate renewed? No message at all. But today you can be clear and sure that there is utter confusion. Utter confusion in the Congress war room. Their strategies are going haywire. They started off with Sri Rahul Gandhi coming out and saying, no, I don't approve of such languages in public discourse. Then he himself breaks that norm. Breaks that norm to talk about things which are absolutely personal about the affidavit which has been filed by Sri Narendra Modi. And when everybody, inclusive of the media, raised questions, he next day in Amethi comes out after filing his nominations to say, no, I didn't raise anything personal. He had to quickly retract. Post which they were not sure as to what is going to be the message or the campaign, the spirit of the campaign. Then they launched Srimati Sonia Gandhi to have an address to the nation with bought time in the televisions. Address to the nation at a time when the polling for 4 different polling dates have all been completed. Suddenly you change of track. And again, since yesterday, there is a change of track. An emotional appeal from Srimati Priyanka Vadra. An appeal which says, don't hit me personally. Oh, you thought there is, a sense of owning up of Mr. Vadra, who till today we've been told by all the cabinet ministers. The day this came up in public 2 years ago, you had all the cabinet ministers coming down to say, oh no, you can't touch him because he's a private citizen. Oh no, you can't question him because he's a private citizen. And yesterday, suddenly you have the family member owning it up, the first family which governs the party. And we thought, therefore, and as Sri Arun Jaitley had written in his blog today, we thought, well, okay, we agree with her. The Congress party should now take the counsel of Priyanka Vadra before they even make a personal comment on others, because personal comments can, hurt, and emotionally you get upset and you appeal to the voters saying this is not fair, khator shabd hai, vagera. What has happened today? She has broken her own rule. Even she has started talking about personal matters. The Congress party has no message. And in addition, they are absolutely confused whether they want to be personal, whether they want to be, public, whether they want to talk about issues which have nothing to answer. They don't have anything to answer. So to run away from answering, are we going to be personal? Are we not going to be personal? Are we going to be emotional? Are we going to hit at the opponent? Make up your mind, Congress party. Make up your mind. You owe an answer to the people of India for having messed up the economy for the last 10 years. You're not answering any of the questions raised by the BJP leaders. And to add salt in the wound of the people of India, you go about raising issues which are not for the core debate of this country. The people of India today want to know why they're losing their jobs, why they have to pay through their nose for basic essentials. They're asking you questions as to why our roads are not built, and why after 10 years, even today, we don't get electricity in many of those urban centers, leave the villages. And on these very issues, Shri Narendra Modi has proved by working to these objectives. And how many ever times that the Congress party would lecture to us on, oh, what is this Gujarat model? I'm sure when they're visiting Gujarat, I'm sure as a part of their campaign, their senior leadership would visit Gujarat. They see it for themselves, that 24/7 there is power in Gujarat. Not so in Congress-ruled Maharashtra. Congress has also been in power for 10 years in Maharashtra. Not so till recently in Rajasthan. Not certainly so in Assam. So there are simple, straightforward indicators on which they can assess what is happening in Gujarat. I welcome the visit by most of the senior leadership to Gujarat to go see the facts and not get dissuaded by the leaders of Congress party in Gujarat who have not even won one election in the last 20 years. You're being misled by your own leadership, Congress party, by your own leadership in Gujarat, which doesn't have public approval. Do your homework, go see what's happening in Gujarat. Don't mislead the people on black money or even in developmental matters as regards what's happening. Thank you.